Hello everyone, welcome back to another ranking video. Today we're going to be tackling one of the greatest bands of all time, one of the most legendary bands of all time, The Who. The Who emerged out of England in 1964, released their debut album in 1965, and even though the band has never quite broken up, it's lost two key members, they've been around still to this day in 2020, but they don't have a huge catalog. I mean, they have a decent amount of releases, but nothing to the extent of, like, say, Alice Cooper or Bob Dylan or the Stones even. Other bands have been around, as long as them. Now, this one was pretty tough for me because it was hard to pick which Who album I would put last. What I was putting first was pretty simple, but at the end, I always, when I make these videos, I always feel like I had to put the worst album last, but in this case, they don't have a worst album. I only put what I thought was the one that didn't capture my attention as much, the one I rarely throw on, and we're going to get right into it. And coming in last for me, from 2006, this is Endless Wire. When this came out, The Who hadn't released an album in, I'd say, maybe 24 years. So this was kind of a shock when it did come out. It was only two members at the time, Pete Townshend and Roger Daltrey, on guitar and vocals, obviously, respectively. The one thing about this is I feel like it's a little boring at times, especially the first 9 tracks, which were entitled Endless Wire. The second part is called Wire and Glass, a mini opera. I feel like that picks it up a little bit, but when I first got this, I threw it on. The opening track, Fragments, sounds very, very similar to Bob O'Reilly, and you'll hear that synth a couple times throughout the album, especially during the mini opera. And I don't know, I just feel like some of the songs were a little longer and didn't keep my attention. 21 tracks in total on this, so it was a little long, and I don't know, it just doesn't really capture my attention. It's something I rarely go for. This is the deluxe edition, which features a bonus DVD of 5 tracks, recorded in 2006 live at Lion. So the main reason I would usually grab that is to watch the DVD. Alright, coming in next for me, for 2019, this is the latest Who album, just entitled Who. And I was surprised. When I heard they were putting out another album, I remembered Endless Wire, and I was like, okay, it's a Who album, I'll probably buy it. But I wasn't expecting nothing. And Roger's voice sounds great on this. I mean, the guy's, in his mid-70s, and he's just amazing. Again, written by Pete Townshend, as in almost every Who song. Every Who album, I should say. I always like to cover art, since the day came out, the Cool Picture of Chuck Berry. That's the one I always reach out for. Obviously, Batman and Robin. Got the British Jack flag, Union Jack flag, British flag there. I don't know, I just think it's a cool cover. It's kind of reminiscent of the 60 years, although they didn't release anything similar to this. I do like the CD, which almost looks like the, almost basically looks like the paper, which would be an old vinyl record. All This Music Must Fade opens it. Probably my favorite song off here. I Don't Want to Get Wise is great. I'll Be Back, Break the News, and Rockin' and Rage, great song off of here. No, I haven't listened to this as much as I should have, being that it's a newer Who album. I didn't listen to it as much as the other albums, not even Endless Wire, but I probably will start throwing this on a little more often. Alright, coming in next for me, first album they would do after the loss of Keith Moon. This came out in 1981, the first album by The Who of the 80s. This is Face Dances. You Better You Bet is the huge single off of here. Don't Let Go of the Coat is my favorite track, the second track off of here. Featuring Kenny Jones on drums to replace Keith Moon. Well, not really replace him, but no one can replace Keith Moon. Keith Jones, formerly of the Faces, came in, and yeah, great drummer. He's not Keith Moon, but he's a great drummer. And I don't know, I just feel like The Who were kind of just pushing this out at the time. That I know they had some songs that they wanted to release, but I feel like by the end of the 70s, The Who kind of wore down a little bit, and losing Keith Moon was a big hit. Never really liked this cover art much. It's basically the 4 members of the band drawn by different artists. But I don't know, it's just, like I said, You Better You Bet is a huge, huge single. Great for The Who in the 80s, especially to open the 80s. But don't let go of the great. Don't let go. The coat is great for me. Did you steal my money? Is okay. How can you do it alone? Another Tricky Day is another great song off here. This ends the album. But yeah, nothing spectacular about this. Coming in next, from 1982, It's Hard. Second album to feature Kenny Jones on drums. Opens up with Athena, great song. It was a pretty big hit back in the day when it was released. Eminence Front, one of my all-time favorite Who songs. That's the one reason I put this above Face Dances. Eminence Front, just a great song. And this is the deluxe, well, remastered, not deluxe, remastered version from 1997, which features a live version of Eminence Front. It's great. And I guess we can kind of forgive Pete for his flock of seagulls haircut there. Put against the 80s, and very, very 80s album looking. You got the, the kid in the arcade. The band hanging around him. It's Hard. I don't know what the title really means. I don't know, maybe it's a reference to the surviving members of the Who still going, especially into another decade. Coming next for me, a lot of people love this album. For me, it's okay. Obviously, it's a great album, big seller from 1978. Last album to feature Keith Moon. Who Are You? We all know the song Who Are You? It was used in, I think, the CSI TV show. One of their most famous songs. One of the songs they're known for. New song. Great song that opens this. 905. The John Entwistle composition there. I love John Entwistle. I love his voice. I love his song. So that's one of my favorite ones. Guitar and Pen is great. And I believe this... Yeah, this one features a previously unreleased version of Empty Glass, which I believe Pete Townsend intended as a single song and released it later on as one of his single albums, but I may be mistaken there. Now, the story of this cover is Keith Moon at the time, unfortunately, was such an alcoholic that he was, heavy. He was pretty fat, so that's the reason he's sitting down in a chair, kind of covering his stomach. But it says not to be taken away, which is kind of creepy because he would die not soon after, unfortunately. Coming in next for me from 1965. This is the debut album, The Who Sings My Generation. I believe this was released in England 65, but United States 66. Out in the Street, it's great. I Don't Mind. This is the American version, actually. Of course, it features My Generation. They're a huge breakthrough hit, which started the band. The Kids Are Alright, another great hit. Cover of Please, Please, Please. The Ox is great. Illegal Matter, one of my favorite songs by The Who, especially the early songs. Produced by Shel Talmy. Kind of just shows The Who there. Such a cool cover. It's so basic, but so cool. The Who just standing in front of Big Ben there. The Who, when I think of British bands, I always think of The Who over the Beatles, the Stones, Zeppelin. I just think The Who, embodied Great Britain, especially Pete Townsend wearing the Union Jack coats and the flag and the maximum R&B symbol with the Union Jack flag. And yeah, for me, if I think England, I think The Who. Coming in next, The Who by Numbers. I think this is a great album. Come from 1975. A lot of people don't love it, only because The Who put stellar 5-star albums out in a row, and then this followed it up. Slip Kid is great. However Much I Booze. Squeeze Box was the big hit from here. But what I really like are the songs like the B-sides on here. Imagine a Man. Success Story is great. Success Story, I first heard that in the Kids Are Alright film. And I don't know if I had this or not yet, but I didn't listen to the whole album. If I did, then I went back and I was like, oh, okay. Blue, Red, and Gray. Such a great composition by Pete Townsend on ukulele. How Many Friends is another great track. And it ends with In Hand Over Face, which is an okay song. It features 3 previously unreleased live cuts on here. Squeeze Box, Behind Blue Eyes, Dream from the Waist. And again, this is the remastered version from the 96, 97. They remastered all their albums, except for My Generation, which will come out as a deluxe edition a few years later with the English cover. Produced by Glenn Johns. I always liked the artwork, and I always wondered how many people back in the day when they bought this on vinyl actually connected the dots. I actually had never seen one in a record store where the dots were connected, but I was always tempted. Maybe if I find a cheap copy, I'll do it. Coming in next, 1967, The Who Sell Out. Basically their first concept album. This is almost written and recorded as a radio show. In between some of the songs, there's some radio jingles. Opens up with the phenomenal Armenia City in the Sky. Mary Ann with the Shaky Hand, another great Britpop tune. As is Tattoo, Our Love Was. Features a huge hit, I Could See for Miles. One of my favorite Who tracks. Great song. And another thing I'm going to mention about these remasters is some really cool stuff on here. Early Morning Cold Taxi, which wasn't originally covered on the original album. Hall of the Mountain King, I love it. Instrumental track on here, and they definitely do it justice. But as you can see, you know, the Pete using the Odorano, Roger with the Heinz Baked Beans on the back. You have John Entwistle as the caveman with the cave woman. Keith Moon using this medic, I guess facial cream or acne cream, whatever it was. So yeah, the cover art kind of depicts what was going on, and really cool cover art, especially for the time being 67. The psychedelic times, just sign of the times. Coming in next for me, the album that came before The Who Sell Out. This is 1966, a quick one. In United States, this was titled Happy Jack. Sorry, drew a blank there. Happy Jack. Great album. I love this. I feel like The Who Sell Out gets a lot better reviews than this, but I prefer this one over The Who Sell Out. Run 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 opens it. Boris the Spider, one of the first Entwistle tracks, which is just amazing. He uses the bass as just a lead guitar instrument. I Need You, Whiskey Man is great. Cover of Heatwave. Cobwebs and Strange, such a really cool instrumental avant-garde kind of track. And of course it ends with a quick one while he's away. Coming in a little over 9 minutes, it's The Who's first attempt at a rock opera. And it was, I believe the producer suggested to Pete to do that. And it kind of rounded out the album. He was short a couple songs, and he just decided to, you know, with the producer's recommendation, to make this little mini rock opera, which obviously The Who would be known for on the next couple albums coming on later in the 60s and in the 70s. It features a cover of, on the remastered edition, features a cover of the theme song from the Batman show in 1966. Bucket Tea, cool song, I think that's a cover. Barbara Ann, which I think the Beatles originally wrote it. I'm sorry, the Beach Boys originally wrote it, but the Beach Boys did do it, so that's a cover there. Features acoustic version of Happy Jack, which wasn't released as the 45 single. And finally, the last bonus track on here is My Generation / Land of Hope and Glory. Different version there of My Generation. Alright, now we're coming down to the top three, and you've probably figured it out, but the order, you did not. Coming number 3 for me, the double album Quadrophenia. Another rock opera, another amazing rock opera. One of the greatest albums of all time. This is so heavy, so complex. Roger's voice is just amazing on here. You get a little more singing from Pete. Opens up with the instrumental I in the Sea and just kicks into the real me, where it's like Entwistle's bass is turned up to 11. The instrumental Quadrophenia, which kind of has snippets of all the songs to come. Great track. Cut My Hair. Kind of this is basically telling the story of a mod, which would be English's version of kind of like a hippie, but not quite. And you know, Cut My Hair is hippies, which would be long-haired hippies and stuff that was going on back then. And then this was released in 73. So we had the 60s generation already over with, and Pete kind of telling the story of this mod who just is lost, buys himself a Vespa scooter. It's kind of a silly story, but the music that comes from is great. The Punk and the Godfather, I'm One, great song. Helpless Dancer, Is It in My Head, cool. I've Had Enough, and that ends the first disc or first album. Second side opens with 515, the one hit song off of this album. It starts with Cut My Hair, snippet of that coming in again, and it's kind of the rebellion of that. Sea and Sand, Drown, Bellboy, Dr. Jimmy, The Rock, and features what is, in my opinion, probably Daughtry's greatest vocal performance in Love Reign Over Me. Again, that's a big hit, but at the time it wasn't as big as it is now, and 515 was the original single released off of this. All right, coming at number 2 for me, 1971, Who's Next? People probably think I'm crazy for putting this album here, but for me, there's just some songs on here like Bargain and Behind Blue Eyes. Yes, they're amazing tracks, some of the greatest rock and roll songs of all time, but I've heard them so much that if Behind Blue Eyes comes on the radio or something, I'm going to skip it. But this opens up with the epic Bob O'Reilly, probably the Who's greatest song, the one they're most known for. It's just amazing. So they use that synthesizer on it, and the name Bob O'Reilly came from Pete Townshend's spiritual mentor at the time, Baba Mayer, I believe his name was, or Maher Baba, I believe. Sorry, mixed that up. Goes right into Bargain. Love Ain't for Keeping, great track, clocking in over a little over 2 minutes. My Wife, my favorite Entwistle composition. Amazing song. The Song Is Over, such a great track. That's probably one of the longest songs on the album. Not the longest, but one of the longest. Getting in Tune to the Straight and Narrow. But let me go back to The Song Is Over. When Roger starts incorporating that Pure and Easy in it, it's just amazing. And Pure and Easy is another track that is one of my favorite Who songs, but it wasn't released at the time on this. Getting in Tune, I mentioned. Going Mobile, great track. Behind Blue Eyes, like I said, great performance. One of the greatest songs of all time, but I've heard it so many times, so sometimes I skip over it. And then it ends with the amazing Won't Get Fooled Again, clocking in at over 8 minutes. Such an epic song by The Who. And I hate that they cut it sometimes. When it was released as a single, it was cut, but you got to hear the song in full. It's great. You just can't cut this song. And this remastered edition features Pure and Easy, which I just absolutely love. One of my top 3 Who songs. Baby Don't You Do It. I believe that's a blues cover, but I could be mistaken. Naked Eye, amazing. Water, Too Much of Anything, I Don't Even Know Myself, and then an unreleased version, Behind Blue Eyes. What I like about this CD is the bonus tracks you get on the remastered version could be a standalone album itself. They're just so amazing. All right, now before I come to number 1, I'm just going to show 2 honorable mentions. They're not studio albums, they're more of compilations. But The Magic Bus. This was a United States only release back in 1968, I believe. Features some tracks at the time that were recorded as B-sides, some stuff from A Quick One and some stuff from The Who Sell Out. Obviously it features the track Magic Bus, which was a big hit for The Who. But yeah, Bucket Tea, Pictures of Lily, another decent hit. I Can't Reach You, Our Love Is, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, Run Around Disguises. Love the album, but again, it's not a studio album, it's a compilation. As is this one, Odds and Sides from 1974. This remastered edition, I keep saying deluxe, remastered edition from 1998 is the definitive edition of this album. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Over 9 bonus tracks on here, which didn't come on the original album. A lot of these tracks I've heard on the Live at Isle of Wight Festival in 1970. And these are the studio versions, which I just absolutely love. Cover of Under My Thumb, the Rolling Stones songs on here. The studio version of Summertime Blues, which was a hit for The Who. Studio version of Young Man Blues, which is another great track that was featured in their live sets from Live at Leeds and Live at Isle of Wight. Pure and Easy's on here again. Long Live Rock, that was the hit that came off of this back in the 70s when this was released. Studio version of Water, and it ends with Naked Eye, an alternate version on here. All right, coming number 1 for me, you probably guessed it, Tommy. Tommy's just an amazing album from start to finish. The greatest concept album of all time. Might be one of the greatest double albums of all time, although here on remastered CD it's all in one. Yeah, I just love this album. It's great. Overture, which opens it up, kind of tells the story of what's to come, and you can feel the story coming, almost like you're watching a movie. You know it's the beginning, you know it's the middle, you know it's the end. It's a Boy in 1921. Obviously, it tells the story of Tommy, the deaf, dumb, and blind boy. An amazing journey. Sparks, such a great instrumental, the greatest instrumental track that Pete Townsend would ever do, along with The Who. Eyesight to the Blind, Christmas. Cousin Kevin is kind of the the bully that would pick on Tommy. The Acid Queen kind of speaks of a woman that's, takes Tommy under her wing, and he starts, taking LSD, and it goes into this amazing instrumental underture, which is kind of Tommy's trip. Do You Think It's Alright tells a story about Uncle Ernie, who is a, unfortunate child molester that molests Tommy. In the Fiddle About, another one which is kind of disturbing. Pinball Wizard is a huge track off of here, which everyone knows. Basically tells the story of Tommy, the deaf, dumb, and blind boy, who sure plays a mean pinball. It just goes on. Tommy, Can You Hear Me? Smash the Mirror, Sensation, Miracle Cure, Sally Simpson, I'm Free. Kind of tells the story of Tommy breaking free from, his mother, his relatives, his bully cousin, his molesting uncle. That ends with We're Not Gonna Take It. Such a great song. Again, over a 7-minute song that needs to be listened to in full. It's sometimes cut up in the We're Not Gonna Take It and then See Me, Feel Me, but you gotta listen to it in full. And a lot of people don't think this is The Who's best album. That's okay. This is my opinion. I like The Who, and this is my favorite Who album. And first time I heard this was, all live from 1970 when they did the tour. So I just had to buy the studio version. It's just absolutely amazing. I love it to this day. I could throw it on anytime, start to finish. The Who, Tommy, number 1. All right, real quick. I know it's a long video. I want to go over the my ranking again. Just a little recap. Number 1, Tommy. Number 2, Who's Next? Number 3, Quadrophenia. Number 4, Quick One. Number 5, The Who Sell Out. Number 6, The Who by Numbers. Number 7, My Generation. Number 8, Who Are You? Number 9, It's Hard. Number 10, Face Dances. Number 11, Who? And coming in last for me, number 12, The Endless Wire. Again, everybody, thanks for watching. Comments, please leave your ranking of The Who's, in your opinion, The Who's greatest albums. And as always, please subscribe if you like these videos. I'm trying to do them more frequently. So I've been saying a lot recently, but I am. And I post a lot of my collection on Instagram, Gary Elysium. So if you want, follow there. You can see more of my collection. Okay, everybody. Thanks for watching.